Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a really fascinating shift in modern geopolitics. We're talking about the death of the traditional battlefield. You know, the days of conventional tanks, muddy trenches, and clear front lines. They're rapidly fading into history. Instead, we're looking at a completely different kind of warfare, one that's fought silently, continuously, and entirely in the shadows of our hyperconnected world. And to unpack all this, we are pulling our insights today directly from Connor A. Anderson's compelling new book, The Invisible War. Honestly, it is a masterclass in how statecraft has evolved. It explores how the fierce, decades-long rivalry between Israel and Iran has moved almost entirely into these covert, invisible domains. It completely changes how we understand modern power and influence, so let's get into it. Here's our roadmap for unpacking this multi-layered conflict. First, the new blue ocean. Then, weaponizing innovation. After that, cyber and psychological frontlines. Then we'll cover the illusion of zero-sum. And finally, redrawing the rules. All right, starting with Section 1, the new blue ocean and redefining conflict. So, we're taking a concept originally meant for the corporate boardroom and applying it straight to the war room. In geopolitics, a blue ocean strategy means creating uncontested space. Instead of clashing in these wildly expensive, zero-sum military battles that frankly just invite global sanctions and widespread condemnation, nations can exert immense power by being uniquely useful. They find spaces their opponents simply can't reach. It's all about building relevance through value innovation. Basically, you turn your technological or economic indispensability into this invisible yet incredibly resilient shield. And Anderson hits the nail on the head here. He says, in the invisible war of our time, it's not the biggest missile that wins, it's the most powerful idea. Soft power, global influence, and strategic imagination have officially replaced those tanks and trenches. It's no longer about forcing a rival into submission through brute strength, right? It's about persuading them through attraction. So whether that attraction is built through indispensable tech utility, cultural exports, or ideological resonance, the idea itself has literally become the ultimate weapon. Which brings us right into Section 2, weaponizing innovation and the tech battlefield. When we actually look at how these two nations operate, the contrast is staggering. Israel leans heavily into its startup nation identity. They use overt innovations, think cutting-edge agri-tech, advanced water management, and top-tier cybersecurity, to build indispensable diplomatic alliances all over the globe. On the flip side, Iran has masterfully cultivated a resistance economy. They've developed these highly adaptive, covert underground networks to bypass really strict international sanctions. This allows them to survive immense economic pressure and creatively project power through things like indigenous reverse engineering. You can actually see this divergence super clearly when looking at the global south. Israel and Iran are constantly competing for unaligned allies, but they're offering completely different packages of value. Where Israel is plugging developing nations into global capital markets and offering high-tech agricultural transfers across Africa, Iran is out there leveraging cryptocurrency networks to completely evade financial walls. They're offering energy deals and deep ideological solidarity to nations in Latin America and the BRICS coalition. It's this quiet, ongoing race for global influence.
Okay, moving on to Section 3, cyber and psychological frontlines. Welcome to the digital war.
The absolute biggest takeaway here is that the code itself is the weapon now. Israel is utilizing advanced AI architectures, state-backed defense firms, and predictive surveillance. Meanwhile, Iran is deploying decentralized cyber militias, proxy hackers, and asymmetric tactics. But you know what? The overarching goal is exactly the same: disruption instead of destruction. This strategy lets both states silently and continuously cross borders. They can target power grids, financial sectors, and vital infrastructure without ever having to fire a single physical shot. It's kind of wild when you think about it. But honestly, this battlefield goes way beyond just hacking computer networks. It's really about hacking the human mind. Both of these actors engage in incredibly sophisticated psychological operations. The goal? To manipulate perception, erode trust, and induce paralyzing fear within their opponent's society. They're using digital deepfakes, calculated ambiguity, and strategic leaks to cultivate what we call ghost enemies. These are phantom threats you might feel super intensely while scrolling through your social media feeds or watching the evening news, even if they never leave an actual physical footprint in the real world. And that brings us to Section 4, the illusion of zero-sum and shared ecosystems. Here, Anderson argues that trying to completely isolate or destroy the other side is actually a self-limiting strategy. Why? Well, because global connectivity means their vulnerabilities are completely mutual. The whole winner-take-all concept? It's a dangerous illusion. Both actors are operating within and entirely dependent upon the exact same global data networks, supply chains, and technological infrastructures. Simply put, you cannot burn down your neighbor's house if you share the exact same foundation. When nations view conflict purely as this binary battle between good and evil, it honestly just prevents intelligent, adaptive governance. We are seeing the real-world consequences of this zero-sum thinking and protracted regional stalemates right now. It causes both sides to miss out on vital, shared middle ground opportunities. Think about cooperating on pressing climate adaptation or resource scarcity. And at the same time, this mindset accelerates the growth of really dangerous, uncontrollable shadow economies that ultimately threaten everyone. Let's head into our final section, redrawing the rules and the future of alliances. We are witnessing a massive paradigm shift away from the Cold War era. For decades, deterrence was all about preventing war through the terrifying threat of mutual destruction and drawing strict military red lines. But today, true power is all about relevance. It's about making yourself so technologically, economically, or ideologically indispensable to the global network that your adversaries simply cannot afford to cut you out. The book puts it beautifully. Power, in this context, is defined by presence, not pressure. Control comes from structure, not spectacle. Alliances just aren't forged primarily by formal treaties drafted in response to incoming missiles anymore. In our modern digital age, they're forged by shared vulnerabilities and quiet ongoing coordination. It's about who shares critical firewall alerts with you, who partners with you on essential food security, and who shapes the algorithms we all rely on every single day. Structure and presence matter so much more than spectacle. To truly grasp the contours of this hidden battlefield and understand the next era of global competition, The Invisible War is an absolute must-read. If you want to master the strategies of soft power and discover the hidden mechanics of global influence, you've got to get your copy today. Just head to the link https://mybook2/NC-01-06. I highly recommend picking it up. It's a real game changer. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final provocative thought to chew on. What does it actually mean to live in a world where peace is no longer a meaningful category?